Hello guys, it's D to the B here, and today I just want to mention this before I start the video. I loved this show. It was a very good show. I was thinking about doing a marathon of the show, but then when I searched it on Disney Plus, I noticed this strange second movie that I didn't even know existed. So I clicked on it. It was Wizards of Waverly Place, Alex versus Alex. And the strange thing is that this film came out in 2013, which, like, what? This came out in 2013? Because the show ended in 2010. I'm like, could be interesting. Let's check it out. And, oh boy. Look, I didn't completely hate the special. I felt there were some redeeming parts of the special. It did have some of the charm of the show, but there are some things that definitely need to be talked about. Alright, let's get into this. So the movie takes place sometime after the finale of the show. Justin is the new head of magic. Max is powerless without his powers. And Alex is the wizard of the family. So I guess it's nice to see the characters, I guess? Let's get started with the plot. So it opens with Alex and Hopper watching a movie in their living room with a car in it. They were just doing a drive-in theater in their living room. The dad then comes in, sees Alex and Hopper in their car in the living room, and tells her to wish that car back to where it came from. Which we find out the guy, whoever's car that was, is looking for it for an hour. I feel bad for this guy who is looking for his car and he hasn't found it in an hour. That's gotta suck. But anyway, then the family is preparing a whole party for Justin, and Alex is just like another one, and it just makes me think, how many parties have they thrown for Justin? Then Alex just uses her magic to set up the decorations so she doesn't have to help. And she gets yelled at again and being called selfish. Which, 50-50, I guess? Like, it's kind of selfish, but it's also easier. And then in the middle of when they're setting up the party, a friend of Justin's named Dominic comes in and lets them know that Justin is too busy to come to a party knowing his current position. Which is kind of disappointing because if you're going to do a revival, wouldn't you have him there at some point in the movie? Like, he is completely absent in this film. Like, sure, I get him being busy, but knowing how the movie ends, he couldn't just have came there and try to help at least? That's just my own personal opinion. Dominic starts complimenting Alex about how pretty she is, and her werewolf boyfriend, which I forget his name, starts getting angry with him. Then Dominic leaves, and then the father mentions that they're going on a family vacation, which then Alex pulls up a door with her magic, and she gets yelled at again. And later, because they go into the door, they come out, and the dad immediately tells her to get rid of the door, and Alex forgets which spell to get rid of the door. And then the dad is just yelling at her like, Justin would have never used a spell that he didn't remember how to undo. Entity always gets mad with Alex when she does something stupid, but this is just plain cruel. It makes it sound like that he's picking favorites out of his 3 children. Then Alex says sorry for her not being the child that he wanted, and then she leaves. Then Dominic returns behind a billboard or something. I'm guessing it's a billboard. And then the werewolf boyfriend shows up, but before that, Dominic gives Alex the bracelet, which it will be a huge involvement with the story. So as I said, then the boyfriend comes. He's prepared her a picnic with salmon. Ew. And she changes it from all the junk food. I'm like, I actually didn't mind that joke. It just seems like an Alex thing, in my opinion. And then her boyfriend gets upset and then he marches down the stairs. Man, Alex is just not having a good day. Then through, I'm guessing, the past weeks or something like that, or the past 2 days, I don't really know, Max has been going back and forth between the door because it's just sitting there. And as I forgot to mention the first time, there's this girl that is through the door, and he's in love with her, I guess. But then we find out later it's his cousin, like, that is just super awkward. And then Max goes back through the door again after being told not to go to the door again. So then the father and the mother go through the door to find Max, and they find pastries, of course, while they're looking for him. And then they eventually find him. But before that, Alex has had enough. Hopper tries to convince her not to change herself, but she completely separates herself. Like, she takes all the bad parts about her and she removed it into a mirror, which then would eventually escape and cause havoc. And then traps Max in a bracelet. And then we get to find out the big baddie is dun 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 dun, Dominic. And eventually they capture Alex's parents, and then eventually Alex's boyfriend. After they find the secret base, which is the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and of course, guess what they make? A pizza joke by saying, "Where's the pizza?" It just reminds me of that one moment in Phineas and Ferb. Now continuing on with the story, then eventually, while she's trying to save her family, and also causing a spell to save the world, Alex gets kidnapped by talking crystals. I'm not joking. Like, I'm just wondering, why talking crystals? Because last I remember, who knows, maybe it did happen some point in the show, I'm actually marathoning it now, there were no crystals mentioned anywhere in the show. Wouldn't that be the Wizard Council's problem? Which then Dominic, getting also to the crystal place, convinces the crystals that the Alex they captured is the evil Alex. Which I also forgot to mention, the movie opens up with talking crystals. And then after she goes to prison, her boyfriend breaks out of the friendship bracelet, saves her with his mighty werewolf powers. And eventually, they go back to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, not pizza, and Werewolf and Dominic battle it out, and evil Alex and good Alex battle each other somewhere else. I'm guessing it was that billboard from earlier, which I also forgot to mention that this person, Dominic, his uncle, was one of the Dark Angels, which I don't know that arc very well because my mom banned me and my brother from watching that arc. I told her about this story eventually, and she's like, I don't remember that. But it did happen. And to speed up things a little, because I'm getting a bit tired from talking about the story, Dominic dies. Evil Alex takes over what Dominic started, which is to get rid of the mortal people who don't have magic and put them in marbles. I know they're not marbles, but they just remind me of marbles. Which Alex then, to get rid of evil Alex, gets rid of her magic and saves the world. And then the crystals are like, we shouldn't give your powers back because you've caused so much mayhem. Then the father is like, I'm helping her grow up. And then Alex is just like, no, like, you should be respecting me who I am. You can't just change me like that. Which is weird how he even would say that, or he's been trying to do that, because sure, he had some problems with Alex in the past, but he never got that far. He took the situation and tried to make a lesson out of it, and sometimes comedic ways out of it. Like the pilot episode, for example. So, if you guys don't remember the pilot, which I'm guessing everyone remembers the pilot, Alex wants a specific jacket so she can be cool and finally get back at someone who she's been fighting with for a long time. And he asks her, was it really worth it? And she put the pieces together with the lesson. Granted, there was a joke of no, but I actually like that answer. In my opinion, it's just off for his character. And then the movie ends with her magic getting back after they all reunite and say, we should have tolerated you how you were, less than blah blah. The end. And I didn't hate the special, but was it really necessary? Like, did we really need a special to continue off where the finale ended? No. Was it nice to see these characters again? Yes. But it wasn't necessary. Like, granted, there have been revivals that aren't necessary that turn out to actually be good. For example, Toy Story 4. Even though it wasn't necessary and 3 ended perfectly, in my eyes and a lot of people's eyes, I still liked the movie. But was this really necessary? Or was it good for something unnecessary? No. It just feels off and empty. I don't know if I have any more comments for this movie, so tell me what you guys thought of it. And yes, I know it's a special, but when I found it on Disney Plus, it was almost an hour. So I'm counting this as a movie. And it showed up as its own separate thing, so it's a movie to my eyes. But anyway, tell me what you guys thought of this movie. I thought it was kind of disappointing. and have a nice day.